up there. I live up there. I live up the street. Over there. I live right there. I live up there. I live up the street.
A view of the center city skyline from the top of Hawks Landing on the campus of St. Joseph's University in Wynnefield. Wynnefield is located on the western edge of Philadelphia. Wynnefield began in 1690 when William Penn gave a land grant to his personal physician Thomas Wynn, who built a house on what is now the corner of 52nd Street and Woodbine Avenue and known as Wynstay.
Wynstay, Wyn is the family name and stay is the Welsh word for field, so it translates into Wynnefield. Wynstay is one of, I think, 3 or 4 houses that were built in the 1680s. Wynstay is the oldest existing private residence that remains in Philadelphia. December of 2008, we finally got Wynstay on the Historic Register.
In 1854, the gradual transformation from a rural environment began when Wynnefield joined the city of Philadelphia. With the added protection of the Philadelphia Police and Fire Department, several institutions decided to move into Wynnefield, including the Kearsley Home for Elderly Women in 1856 and the Home for Destitute Colored Children.
The Home for Destitute Colored Children was a Quaker-run institution that was founded before the Civil War. It operated during the Civil War. The Wynnefield area was decided on because it was basically a rural area. It was the only and the first institution to actually house the orphans of African American soldiers who had died soldiers and sailors who had died in the Civil War.
The evolution of Wynnefield into a more urban environment led the rural-oriented Hicksite Quaker founders of the home to move out of the Wynnefield area in 1922 in favor of a more isolated environment. The Mann Public School was built on this site.
In 1896, the railroad company, building its Pottstown line, built the Wynnefield station.
The immediate result of that decision was to jumpstart the development of Wynnefield, and this literally put Wynnefield on the map. Following the end of World War I, Wynfield's history reached another pivotal point and took a significant turn. Housing development spurted with the construction of twin and row homes for the first time, and Wynfield's population exploded with the influx of Jewish families from other parts of the region.
My family moved to Wynnefield in 1926. We lived in a big single home. My friends all lived further south than I did, and they were in row houses. And we walked. Nobody had automobiles in those days.
The next wave of new residents moving into Wynnefield occurred in the mid-1960s when African Americans began to migrate to Wynnefield from nearby neighborhoods, similar to the earlier Jewish influx. The biggest synagogue in the region became the largest church in Wynnefield. The Wynnefield Residents Association was created in 1957 to preserve Wynnefield as a highly desirable residential area.
Stanton Craddock, of course, he was the founder of Wynnefield Association. Stanton was the first zoning chairperson. He had the zoning code down pat, and every time he went for that zoning board, we came out shining.
Protecting zoning laws was only one of many struggles that WRA went through.
One of the things that I think was very challenging was to stop the production of a mall on the down, what was known as Bala Golf Club. We had a real concern about a facility on 54th Street, and someone came in and really turned it into a bar. And the quote in Wynnefield is "no bars in Wynnefield." We had people picketing the bar, and we did shut it down.
Wynnefield's a great community because, one, it's an integrated community. It provides so many different opportunities. You have the center named after Councilman Anderson.
John Anderson was very, very inspirational and supportive to Wynnefield. We had started a project of having the, at that time called the Wynnefield Cultural Center. After the opening, we then renamed it because of his efforts and the fact that we were able to achieve it. We gave the name John C. Anderson Cultural Center.
John Anderson had the maximum influence on my political life and certainly many things that I've done in Philadelphia.
The Block Club during the 70s was an integral part of anti-violence measures. It was almost a village approach. As we played in the streets, we were being watched over not only by individual parents but by our block captain.
I've been president of the block many years. I've worked for many things in the block.
And so through that network of block captains, there was almost a safety net for all of us. The other thing that I love about Wynnefield is that we had a commercial corridor that you had a butcher shop, you had a floral shop, you had a shoe store.
Wynnefield is home to several institutions which at their inception were one-of-a-kind visionary projects. Several of these institutions are still operating and providing vital services to the Delaware Valley region. For example, the Settlement Music School, which has its West Philadelphia branch in Wynnefield, is the largest community school of the arts in the country. St. Joseph's University is the largest institution in Wynnefield.
It is indeed Hawk Hill. St. Joseph's University's move to Wynnefield is an interesting story. We chose City Avenue because there was City Avenue. We also chose it because it was on Route 1. It was the ideal place for a university to be. So one of the things that we wanted to do was to work with the local government officials in order to make it possible for us to put a service district together across two lines, two different cities, in fact, two different counties.
Yeah, St. Joe's University moved to Wynnefield in 1927. They have a special relationship with the Gompers Elementary School. They've practically adopted the Gompers School, and it's made that school much better for it. The university really has collaborated on a lot of activities in the community. They, again, in large part, financed the construction of a playground behind the Gompers School. Dozens of students from the university came out, and dozens of members of the community came out. And not only did we build a playground that day, but this kind of activity really builds community.
I think the thing that we like the most about Wynnefield, it's our local community. It's a place that we can call home. We feel comfortable in it. It's a place where we belong.
In the last few years, St. Joe's University has expanded tremendously. They've grown in size, and with that has come a lot more students that live off campus in Wynnefield. Residents in Wynnefield need to maintain a constant vigilance to retain that quiet, peaceful community that we live in, regardless of how many students come and join us.
For people who had desired a religious affiliation, they were all here. We had synagogues and churches, and I think there's even a mosque.
Almost 20 years I've been a member of the Penn Memorial, and what keeps me there is the friendliness of the congregation, the leadership.
Wynnefield has a long history of religious diversity, of which our residents are rightly proud. For the past 300 plus years, we have worked to maintain Wynnefield as the precious place that it is.
It has a tremendous convenience, but it's just a wonderful neighborhood. People are nice. It has a long history of community activism.
Wynnefield, to me, was one of the best examples of a quiet, suburban atmosphere, even though it was in the city of Philadelphia.
I believe that the convenience of travel, living in Wynnefield to Center City or to the suburbs, there's library around, there's plenty of shopping on City Avenue.
It's the most ideal community in the universe, on the planet.
It's a great part of Philadelphia. It's a sense of what Philadelphia is all about.
This is a great place to live, work, raise your family, and just enjoy all that Philadelphia has to offer.